Hey everybody, before the show starts, log on to musicmoneymakeover.com/shop to download all my books and free guides. And while you're there, click on the book a call tab to book a one-on-one Zoom call with me to get all your music business questions solved. Enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Music Money Makeover Show. My name is Casey Graham, and on this episode, we're talking about the horrors of a 360 deal. Now, let me clear this up. I'm not just talking about how horrible this thing could be for new artists. I'm also talking about new labels, right? And how new labels can actually function with this 360 deal model, and if it's even possible for you to function as that. Now, I feel like today's technology is slowly advancing people out of the 360 deal because of how things can be automated nowadays. But needless to say, I'm going to dig into the horrors of the current day 360 deal for both parties. This is not for major labels. This is not for already established artists. This is for brand new artists and brand new labels looking to get this whole music industry, their companies, their foot in this new music industry. All right, before we do that, we got to jump into Copyright Explain. If you want to donate to the channel, you can do so right over there. If you want to skip Copyright Explain, you can do so right below. Let's go into Copyright Explain. Copyright: the sole right which an author has in their own original literary compositions. The exclusive right of an author to print, publish, and vend their own literary works for their own benefit. Now, of course, there are two main rights of copy that the music industry operates and revolves around, and that's the masters and the publishing. And the masters is referred to as the sound recording copyright. Sound recordings as in records, masters, phonogram, or the audio recording file, i.e. the WAV, MP3, AIFF of the composition and or song. Now, you can collect your master recording royalties or the proceeds due from the sale and streaming of the master recording via your distributor like TuneCore or DistroKid, and if you have a major label deal, then it's them, all right? Now, you can also collect the performance royalties via the master sound recording via Sound Exchange and PPL over in the UK. Sound Exchange is based here in America. And if you are outside of America, any other organization that collects these sound recording performance royalties are referred to as neighboring rights. Now, publishing is referred to as a performing arts copyright here in America. Okay, performing arts as in the composition, sheet music, MIDI files, publishing, or song to be performed. You can collect the performance royalties for the composition via BMI, CSAC, ASCAP here in America, and PRS over in the UK, and other countries have their own performing rights organization as well to collect those royalties for you. All right, now, you can collect the mechanical royalties due from the composition via Harry Fox, Music Reports, and the Mechanical Licensing Collective here in America. You can also collect your mechanical royalties over in the UK from MCPS. So now, Lyric Find right here. You can get your lyric display royalties from Lyric Find and Music Match, but that's that. Let's go through the 6 rights of copyright to be exercised to the fullest extent of the United States Code under Title 17, and that's the right to reproduce. The right to reproduce the copyrighted work in copies or phonorecords, physical or digital format. The right to prepare derivative works. The right to prepare derivative works based upon the copyrighted work. The right to distribute copies or phonorecords of the copyrighted work to the public by sale or other transfer of ownership or by rental, lease, or lending. And then we have the right to public performance, the right to perform the copyrighted work publicly, the right to public display, the right to display the copyrighted work publicly, and the right to digital performance, and that's the right to digital audio transmission performance. All right, everybody, so we got to preface this thing just as usual, okay? So before we get into this, okay, there are 4 categories. We're talking about the records, we're talking about publishing, we're talking about merchandise, and we're talking about shows in this particular segment. Now, some of you may be so inclined to say, well, what about all the other ancillary stuff involved in these deals? I'm not jumping into things that can take you into making, publishing books and doing TV shows and film and all that other stuff. We're just keeping it to these 4 categories, and we're working on these 4 categories in today's video. Now, so without further ado, let's jump into the meat of things. All right, everybody. So we are back in the computer, and, I want to address this like this one more time. Today's video is for brand new record labels or very green record labels and very new artists who want to get into a 360 deal or has one in front of them, or the record label is considering doing this type of business structure as they get started from the ground. Now, new record labels, I'm going to tell you it's going to be difficult to execute everything in this 360 deal when you're brand new, okay, from the ground. So if you are desiring doing a 360 deal, my warning to you is to start to put people in place to handle your processes before you do the deal, okay? New artists coming into a 360 deal situation with a brand new record label, make sure that they can do what it says they need to do on the agreement. Because if they don't have the team necessary to handle all of the clauses in the 360 agreement, then it might not be a good fit for the both of you. All right, so new record labels and new artists. Let's jump into it. Now, most record labels will do an 80-20 deal where the artist is responsible for paying the producer royalty, okay? The mechanical royalty and the advances in recording costs paid back through the leftover artist royalty percentage available, okay? It will look like this. This is kind of a standard major label deal, yet and still these things are going around. Sometimes they're better with leverage, but most of the time it's going to kind of look like this. Now, the deal can be a 75-25 up to a 50-50 if you have the leverage, but it will still bear the same responsibilities for recoupment, meaning that even if, let's say, your artist royalty is 25%, you're still going to be responsible for the mechanical and producer royalties. Now, the contract may say this, but from an independent standpoint, most brand new independent labels will not be collecting this. So you can still go and collect the mechanical and you won't be responsible. I'm just keeping it frank. Most independent record labels don't have the staff or the know-how to do so, but I'm just throwing it out for you record labels. If you're going to reduce this mechanical, which would mean you need to collect it yourselves and then reduce it, which most of you may see in your contract by 25%, and then you'll start to pay out all the other people 75% of the mechanical. If you're doing that, you have to collect this from Harry Fox, MLC, and Music Reports yourself. Now, so the producer royalty, the artist, you have to be responsible for that, and artists, you are responsible for paying the mechanical royalty. So whatever comes in that they collect that they had to pay out, they're going to collect this, take the reduced portion, and then you're going to be responsible for what was left over. All right, so I'm just letting you know that that's how it's always worked that way, so don't get in the uproar. That's what it is. All right? Okay, now remember, bigger artist percentages left over, well, that's backwards, equals faster recoupment. Okay? Now, that might be good for you artists, but let's keep going. So, what's the horror? A high artist royalty for new labels means faster recoupment, provided if you know exactly how to market this artist. Okay. So this also means less money, which means you must seek other income streams from the artist outside of your typical music marketing methods. Get ready for the pushback. So then now you have to start asking for merch and shows and publishing and, other things that they may get by you promoting them as an artist, and they might not want all of that. Okay. I'm just letting you know. So, and also I want to say this for the artists with the lower artist royalty, right? So if you're like at the 20% club right here, on a new label will mean that you will be broke AF. And if they don't have enough money to market you, you will be wasting your time. Okay, so you're looking for enough money to market you so that you can recoup on the little bit of 7% that you have left. Okay. So if you're not going to get an 80-20 deal, which is what this is, these add up to 20% right here. And you see you have 7% left over, and you get a bigger deal like a 50-50 deal, well, then you can recoup faster. Now, labels, here's where this goes wrong for you. If you're a brand new label and you don't have enough operating cash, you start with the initial capital, but you don't profit and you don't break even and then start to profit, then if the artist royalty is too high and they recoup and you don't have enough money to keep funneling into the artist, which means you're not playing with house money, you're still playing with the original money you came in with, then that's how the label goes broke. And so you got to watch and make a decision. Do I do a 50-50 deal, Or do I reduce the artist royalty and end up, giving them less so that the label can collect more money, okay, to fund itself? Artists, I want you to understand this too. If the label is underfunded, it's no fun for anybody. All right, so let's keep rolling. We're still in marketing records right now. So the bottom line, label must have finances and know how to use them, and the artist must have leverage from prior work before the deal. I want to encourage all artists, please go out and get your feet wet before getting into some independent deal with some nobody, Jimmy James Records Incorporated. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, get out there, work the streets, work the internet so that people can hear your music and you can get some type of following before you consider doing a deal with just anybody. I recognize that record labels need to get started. I get it. Everybody wants to do one. Everybody doesn't know how to run one. All right. Now, so publishing compositions. Now, the responsibility of the label we're still in label responsibility. The publishing percentage is income participation based, but they will usually try to push for a co-publishing ownership stake and reduce it by 5%. So say if you don't agree to, hey, the label will say, we're going to do this 360 deal, and I'm only going to take 10% of your publishing earnings. I'm not going to own 10%, but I'm just going to get a revenue stake. You're going to pay me 10% of your publishing. But if you decide to do a co-ownership situation with me, we'll only take 5%. We'll only take 5% ownership. Well, what does this mean? What does this reduction mean to you as an artist or as a writer? If you're writing on your own composition, let's say you're a rapper and nobody ghostwrites for you, you do your own thing. Okay. What happens here? Well, the horror is, artists, once the deal is over, you'll have a thorn in your side for the rest of your life plus 70 years, because that's U.S. copyright law, as a 5% equity stake of ownership in all songs that fall under the deal. Mind you, they won't be doing any of the following below for this 5% that they will get if they will be doing co-publishing with you. So synchronization, song usages, copyrights, proper registration. Well, they may do proper registration, but sub-publishing, administration, remixes, and covers, like getting other artists to do covers, getting other DJs to do remixes, okay? They're just going to take a co-publishing stake of 5% ownership for the rest of the life of the copyright plus 70 years after you die. Now, co-publishing does not equal administration rights. What I mean by that is just because they own 5%, like I just said, doesn't mean they're going to handle all of these processes, which means that you would need to go and get another admin, which would request up to 25% to do all of this right here. So in order to keep yourself in a good ownership position, you would need to short what would be a typical administration deal of 25% down to 20%, and that's going to be a tough negotiation for you. So if you short the admin deal and they're like, well, the label says, well, we already took 5%. The admin is like, all right, man, I really don't want to, wasn't planning on doing a 20% deal, but if you say the label's going to do what they're going to do, then all right, we'll go for it. But they're not going to be too enthused with cutting their percentage by 5%. Follow me here. Usually this right here, publishing will be a 75-25 split, but it won't be anymore because you had to short the admin because you gave 5% to the label. All right. Now, let's go. Oh, that's double. So now let's look at show money. What does show money look like? Okay, well, you got a gross, let's just say $10,000. This is the I have the starry eyes, make me a star package. I know you already saw the bottom, but let's just roll through it. This is a typical artist who doesn't know, who's just getting started. We got to take out the talent agent, they get 10%, all right? You got to take out the manager's cut, they get 20%. And you got to take out the business manager because they process the whole transaction. So they get 5%, that's $500. Your road manager gets like $500 for 5%. All right. You got your background singers, 3 at $250. That's 7.5%. And that's $750. So that's gone. The 2 dancers, $250 at 5% of the whole cost. So that's $500. The band members, let's say you got a bassist, a guitarist, a keyboard player, a drummer. You probably got a DJ in there. Okay. I think that was 5 people. 12.5%. All right, that's $1,250. All right, you got your engineer. Now, you might say, engineer for what? Well, sometimes when you go on tour, the venues that you go to do not supply an engineer, which means you must hire an engineer to come on the road with you. Okay, just depending on where you are. But by the time you get to this 10,000 club, this is a very realistic situation. All right, so the engineer that came with you is getting $350. Even if they get there and there's an engineer there and they're not running your sound for you, but just in case they are, $350. If they're not going to run your sound and they're still on the road, you still got to pay it. All right. Per diems at $50 a piece. All right. That's 6%. You got to pay. Everybody has to eat. Your staff has to eat. So that's $600. Hotel for one night, 8 rooms, 12.5% of the money. That's $1,250. All right. That's like $156 a room, which is a decent room because you got to have security. You can't just stay anywhere as a star. And then the label's going to take their 10% because remember, this is a 360 deal. So now you're netting 3.5% of the whole entire thing. Shout out to Kendall Mentor for this example right here. So now you have this whole, this is what you're getting at the end of the day on a 360 deal. If you got the Make Me a Star package going on, I got to have dancers in my band and my background singers and my road manager because your regular manager isn't going on the road with you. They're trying to figure out how to get other money for you. So you got to have somebody on the road with you. You got to pay that guy or lady, right? But, you can come to your senses with the Make Me, I Came to My Senses package and sobered up, right? At $10K a show, you got to get talent agent $1,000. Your manager gets 20%. Your CPA, business manager for processing your transactions at $500. Mind you, the business manager right here will process checks for everybody involved. So you got to call your business manager to make sure that the checks are getting issued to everybody on the list. That's what they're getting paid that 5% for. Road manager is handling all the problems of everybody. Oh man, something happened to my CDJ with the DJ. Something. Oh, I need some. I left my earrings at the hotel. Can you make sure somebody gets it? Something like that. You know what I mean? That's the road manager handling that at every tour stop. You got dancers too. Because I reduced your package, you got to get rid of some of the weight. You got a DJ now. You don't have a band. You just got a DJ. You give them $300, and your DJ will double as your engineer, and they will do sound check, right? And then you got per diems that four people have to eat at $50 each. That's $200. Now you have a hotel, one night, 4 rooms, 6.25% at $625. The label gets 10% at $1,000 yet and still, and now you net something that's nicer. You net something that's way nicer. Excuse the phone. Everybody's still texting me on Superphone. That was the ding that you heard. Text me 470-291-5767 if you would like to contact me. All right, here we go. Now, merchandise, $10,000 increments. All right, so this is like a block of $10,000. So this is a gross sale. This is not including, like I said, check this out. It doesn't include vendors' fees, distributors' fees, manufacturing fees, taxes, domestic or foreign. All right. So your manager is going to get a cut, 20%. Your business manager is going to get a 10% cut at $1,000. Your label is going to request 25% on the 360 deal. Straight up. All right. Now you're going to net 45%, but that doesn't mean that all of these costs don't have to be accounted for down below. The vendor's fees, distro, manufacturing, taxes, and domestic and foreign. So you don't really get that much. You're starting to not have fun here. Now, the label, on the flip side, if you're a brand new label, we just went through all these processes. You can kind of see how, okay, I can collect, 25% of merch. I can make my money back. I can collect 10% of the shows. I can go back and I had a double slide here, so, forgive that. I can go back and collect 10% publishing or 5% ownership. And I can collect on the recording deal itself. It's good for me if I'm putting in all of my money, but it might not be so good for you artists in the end. It just depends on how much you need to produce your shows, how much you all can be so savvy as to do the the merchandise, and all of that. So now, if you have a manager in place that's getting 20%, you got the label in place that's taking stuff from across the board. Here's what I would recommend. Have those two people be separate, and they can't be a conflict of interest, meaning the manager can't be the brother of the record label owner, right? They have to be totally separate of each other. They can't be in business together, all right? Because now you're kind of just double dipping. You're pulling a lot of money away right here from this artist, going to one party, okay? So you want to separate the two. What you don't want to have happen is your manager becoming the label in and of his or herself. Okay? So, and if they are, then they're going to have to reduce percentages all the way across the board, artists. Okay? That's just the facts. Because a lot of times you start with brand new record labels who manage you and are the record label. In that case, to be fair to my new record labels who are doing this process, and you're serving as the manager and the record label, because releasing records are now becoming a lot more simpler and you don't have to do a lot of stuff, right? So what you need to do is stay at 20%. I would stay at 20% across the board in every category. And then artists, if this manager is competent enough to take you there and has the finances, then it looks like a better deal. Because look, a manager deal is the original 360 deal. Always has, always will be, and always will forever be into infinity and beyond. All right? Label 360 deals, even though they're not new, they're the newest to enter that market of ancillary collection, meaning that they can get pieces from everything. Okay? So you can kind of see the horrors here. It's cutting in too deep. It's cutting in too deep. So, final verdict. If you are a new label, justify why your percentages are valid, justify how you will collect the money, how you're going to pay for merchandise, how your operation is truly going to work. If I were you, as a new label, I would only request a publishing stake. Okay? Now, as the artist, only agreed to a 360 deal if you don't have an operation in place, all right? Or are incapable of building an operation yourself, or need to level up your operation you currently have in place, okay? If you are signing as an artist, always make sure you've built up leverage. Now, what do I mean right here? You need to level up your operation. Let's say you're doing merch, like you operate really, really well. You don't need them to collect on publishing, right? Because or let's put it this way. Let's say you're releasing the records and you're collecting the publishing, all right? And so you're going to take an advance on your records and your publishing, but you don't need them to do your merch. And let's say you also have a manager and you don't need them to get a piece of the show. Well, then consider doing a deal where you only select two of the categories, records and publishing. If you, let's say, because after that point, the recording 360 deal doesn't make sense. Then you have a merch deal at that point, because what's left over is the touring and the merch. So you would just need an agent and a matter of fact, you know what? Let's not end the video just yet. Okay, let's go back. What I'm saying is this. All these people do different jobs. This is the record company. This is the publishing company. Okay? Sorry about the double slide. All this show booking stuff comes between the manager and the talent agent. So if the manager isn't booking the show themselves, the talent agent is for the tour. You might get a 10, 20 city tour. That will be done by the talent agent and corroborated between the talent manager and business manager. They will put all that together. Okay? That's a different company. And then your merch company is a totally different company. These are all different deals. That's why I'm saying, as you all hear me preach on my channel, I'm a la carte with it. I like to, if you're a new artist, build. Take some time to build before you jump into a brand new record label situation with a totally green record label that has never put out an artist before. Unless you're going at this together, your partners, and from the very, very beginning, You know what I mean? You really have to use discretion when you're signing with brand new labels and making sure they have the operations in place, because just because somebody say they're independent doesn't mean they might have a situation with a major label behind the back. And the major label is handling all this, which means that they have to do a double deal. They have to graduate the deal up. I don't want to get too advanced here. I'm just saying you got to watch who you do business with on these 360 deals. Anyway, let me get out of the computer. All right, look, hey, everybody, that is the end of the show. Thank you for watching. Once again, my name is Casey Graham. You can text me 470-291-5767. Text me 470-291-5767. Some of you all text me, hey, yo, what's up? Yes, that's my number. It comes to my phone. I see all the craziness. Is this real? Is this Casey from the music? Is this YouTube? But it's me. Text me, all right? Add your number to the phone, because that's how I'm going to follow back up with you. If you don't add your number to the phone, I'm going to think you're spam or someone who doesn't care. Anyway, download the books and free guides below. Visit me on musicmoneymakeover.com. Check in with me, book a call, all that good stuff. I'll see you all later. Peace. Everybody, thanks for watching the show. Log on to musicmoneymakeover.com/shop to download all my books and free guides. And while you're there, click on the book a call tab to get a one-on-one Zoom call with me to get all your music business questions answered and solved. Thanks for watching.